Hi, my name is Ro Kolakowski. I'm a partner here at Sixth Street Consulting. We are a technology consulting firm. And one of the common questions we get a lot is, how do companies successfully engage and deploy large projects? And that's something that a lot of companies have a challenge with. I think a lot of the times there's a lot of anxiety or there's a lot of anxiousness to actually get a project started. And sometimes you have certain people on the team just kind of running off to the races and deploying something. And what actually happens at that point is that even if it's a successful deployment in the short term, some long-term considerations may not have been thought through, and what ends up happening is the deployment over time starts to not work correctly and things aren't laid out correctly. So what are the things that we'd like to take all of our customers through, all of our clients through, is we take them through a process called Envisioning Framework. Now, when we roll out projects, there are very distinct phases of the project, and the very first one that every single project goes through is an envisioning process. And during this envisioning process, what we do is we like to get the key stakeholders together to make sure that we capture their vision, we capture their long-term goals, and we also strategically balance that against what's available for a budget. The way you want to think about it is like if you are building a golf course, the wrong way to go about it is to build a golf course kind of 1 square foot at a time. So what we like to do is kind of take a step back and make sure that we have sort of the long-term goal and we build it out appropriately, and we take all the long-term planning into consideration. As part of the Envisioning Framework engagement, what we like to do is conduct what's called a solution briefing session with key executives. Then we also go through a series of workshops where we're getting everyone in alignment. And that's super important, because I can't tell you how many times we've started with customers in a vision and they, without having any sort of budget parameters around their discussions, we end up with solutions that aren't workable within their budget. So what we like to do is, when we are able to go through this envisioning process, is we always keep the vision sort of tempered with fiscal reality in terms of what can actually be done, and also trying to solve the problem with the right amount of resources that are commensurate with the size of the problem. At the end of this envisioning engagement, the customer will walk away with a clear understanding of their vision for how their project is going to be deployed. At the end of the Envisioning Framework engagement, what the client will get is basically a very good understanding of what it's going to take to get their vision actually deployed. The level of effort, a statement of work, timing, and also a very good idea in terms of how everything's going to be laid out from a logical standpoint and from a physical standpoint. And this really gives the champions a clear vision of how their project is going to work. And it also lets them evangelize it inside of their own organization. So it helps reduce a lot of conflict as well, because sometimes there are situations where other people in the organization might say, well, why was this feature not implemented, or why was this feature not implemented? And going through this framework process, this visioning framework process, they'll see that, hey, that was actually considered, but it was too expensive, it wasn't the right time. And so at the end of the process, what we end up is with key management having a very good vision and everyone in alignment. So when they actually go to build the solution, everyone's on the same page, and at least a very successful deployment.